Will Pugh's joined us from the Sun. We're going to look at some of the transfer stories of the day. Will, good to see you again.
How's it going, Jen?
Not too bad. I'm wondering if you're a happy hammer today, because it looks as if you're in the box seat to get Kalvin Phillips. But we've just had a chat before you came on here, and we were sort of saying, you were thinking, you know, we've got players in that position. It's an odd one, you feel?
Exactly that, yeah. I've been singing his praises for a long time, but I totally understand why he gets in every single England squad. You can still be one of England's best players and be a reserve at Manchester City. That's the way it goes. But this season, West Ham have got Thomas Souček, Edson Alvarez and James Ward-Prowse all playing fantastically well. And I'm not really certain where Kalvin Phillips fits in. He brings more energy. He's probably likely a direct swap for James Ward-Prowse. But 10 goal contributions in 20 in the league this season for Ward-Prowse. Set pieces, one of the best in the league. No one would argue with that. So I feel like whatever you take away from the team, you sort of level it out by when you add Phillips back in.
So if you're Ward-Prowse and you are trying to get into this England team, he's not definitely on the plane, is he?
No, not at all.
And if Kalvin Phillips is basically coming in to play in your position and to try and get in the England team, I think you'd be pretty annoyed.
Absolutely. And I mean, Thomas Souček, West Ham fans will be screaming at the radio going, no, Souček will be the one to go out. He can't pass the ball. He's not very mobile. But he's scored 5 this season, playing better football. Now the shackles have been lifted on him after Declan Rice's departure. So I don't think it's quite as easy as everyone's saying that Phillips comes in, walks into the team. No one knows how Matt Sharpie's going to be and then strolls onto the plane for England in the summer.
Unless one of them is leaving. Unless Souček's leaving. Unless someone's leaving.
I can't see any of that.
I mean, the thing is, can you have too much quality in a team? Maybe that's the thing. There isn't maybe enough depth in the squad. Maybe they are going to do some business elsewhere. Where do you think they really need to do business?
Well, as it has been for the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 400 years, it appears, a centre forward. Mikel Antonio, is the return from injury keeps getting pushed back. He's well into his 30s now. Bowen's done excellently well standing in for him in the meantime. But again, if Bowen's then injured and Antonio wasn't really cutting it even before he got hurt, I think West Ham fans have been crying out for a proper centre forward for season upon season now. So that does seem a peculiar one. But Victor Boniface is being mentioned, £50 million plus from Bayer Leverkusen. He's a Sunsport exclusive this week.
Oh, nice.
Okay, that'll be interesting. Yeah, he's done very well there. Now, what was I going to say? Oh, yes, Kudus looks like he's heading back, barring some shock results in AFCON. So you'll get him back sooner than you would have expected.
Absolutely, yeah. Huge positive on that front from West Ham. He was very glum and couldn't even get his words out in his post-match interview for Ghana. But yeah, the West Ham fans are delighted.
We're going to talk to our guys at AFCON about this later on. You get the player back, but in what frame of mind? But anyway, we'll come back to that later on. Chelsea, they're apparently being linked with a striker at Sporting Lisbon, Victor Gyökeres. I mean, it's a lot of money. They're saying it's £86 million. You don't see Chelsea spending that kind of money in January, do you?
No, quite. Coventry fans will know him, of course. 43 goals in 116 games for them. Went to Sporting Lisbon from Coventry in the summer.
Have they got a sell on Cov?
Well, exactly. The figure being quoted there, the £86 million, is a release clause in that contract. I mean, Chelsea were and have been heavily linked with Ivan Toney. I am almost certain they will not sign a big name striker this window. With the FFP, it's becoming the FFP PSR profit sustainability window, isn't it? And in line with all of that, Chelsea, unless they can get rid of some players, they're not going to be able to make enough room on their wage bill for the sort of wages that Gyökeres would command in an £86 million move. So
also, it feels like the rest of the Chelsea team is so transitional that it's so them, as Andy often says, that they'll be good in 2 years' time. So maybe this season isn't the season to go in for a big striker.
I was talking to him yesterday in the lift. We were talking about this subject about buying a striker because he's off to the game tonight. And I think they're going to wait till the summer. Really. I think they're more likely to do that when they've got a bit more choice of who's out there.
I think everyone will.
15% sell on Coventry negotiated. So if they got 50 million for him, that would be a tidier sum. Under them.
Good manager, Mark Robbins, really good.
Newcastle, we should talk about. Where we're at the moment. Yeah, Kieran Trippier.
Yeah, £12 million. The reports coming out over the weekend is what Newcastle would accept from Bayern Munich for his services. Newcastle fans on Twitter, as is the nature of the fan on Twitter, were up in arms, outraged at that price. But 33 years of age, he only got 18 months left on his contract.
That sounded a lot. Sorry, I thought that. I was like,
you thought that was a lot?
Much. I thought that was a lot.
No, I mean, he's an important player for them.
He's getting older, you know.
International quality, right?
It's 3 or 4 players. He's an important player. He's 3 or 4 players is in the league that sort of money. So you have to question how much Newcastle need 12 million quid. We've heard a lot. Unless they've got someone they want to buy, they want to take him off the wage bill. They've got sound reasons for doing it.
Well, that's the thing as well. Eddie Howe's quite openly admitted this month that Newcastle's hands are tied by the profit and sustainability rules as well. £120,000 a week he's getting, so that's a sizable sum to get off the wage bill. And I think Newcastle are in the position at the moment where every player has their price. Darren Eales, the chief exec, come out not too long ago and said exactly that. He said, I'm not going to stand here and say we're not going to sell any of our big stars, because the world we're living in these days with the FFP, the PSR stuff, means that we have to make these decisions. Feyenoord
apparently have shown an interest in Nico Williams at Forest, but they're not willing to play ball.
No, quite. Yeah, that's been rejected out of hand. They wanted to take him on loan till the end of the season. He's played a few games for Forest this year, 15 in the league. It's only been 18 months since they signed him from Liverpool. He's on a decent whack there, but he's been playing a lot. He's liked by the fans. I just think that was
the only thing is
no-go.
When a new manager comes in, for whatever reason, sometimes managers don't fancy players. I'm not saying that's the case here, but we don't quite know. I mean, he's having a look at the side, isn't he, at the moment, and he'll make up his mind about certain players. You could see a few players go out of Forest simply because he doesn't fancy him. No,
that is true. I think as well there's an element of Feyenoord and teams seeing the FFP charges that have been brought against him and thinking, they might be in a bit of a spot here. They might be tripping over themselves to let players go that they otherwise wouldn't have. But Forest quite firm in their stance that and a no to Feyenoord.
Okay. Decore at Everton could be off to Saudi.
That's it. Same sort of situation, really. I think
it's an FFP thing. Do you think as well?
Well, as in a team coming in for a player who you would think, why on earth would that team let them go? He's been playing a lot for Everton this season. Al Ettifaq, of course, need a replacement for Jordan Henderson after he upped sticks and went to Ajax.
Since the Jordan Henderson thing, do you think we'll see players thinking twice a bit more about going just for the money? Or some players, we know it's true. Some footballers don't like football. They like money. Yeah. So maybe they'll just pick those footballers.
We were talking about this yesterday with Ben Jacobs. Emerick Laporte said similar thing. He find it very difficult. He said, I love the money. I'm not so sure about the lifestyle.
Criticised the player care, didn't he? He said he was just sat in traffic all the time.
Yeah, he's finding it difficult to settle.
We saw it with China, didn't we? In the Chinese league did the same thing, didn't we? Yeah. And I don't think there's many left there now.
No,
the Chelsea player.
Oscar was the last bastion of...
Who was very open. I mean, he wanted to sort of improve his sort of family's lot. And when that was very open about the fact he couldn't turn the money down. So
6 goals in 18 games for Everton though this season. Decore, they're not going to want to lose him at all.
Somebody who could maybe move in January if Fulham want to do business, because his contract's up in the summer. He could sign a pre-contract now. Is Tosin Adarabioyo, their centre half.
Yeah,
he was linked to Tottenham at one point, I think, before the start of the season. But, I mean, I suppose they risk losing him for nothing unless they do something in January. Or he signs a new contract. But he's not shown any sign of doing that yet, I don't think.
No, quite. Well, AC Milan fancy him. They fancy him a lot. Like you say, they can agree something with him now. I think if funds become available for them, they would be open to moving in January. But it does feel like more one of them that will just happen in the summer. He'll let his contract run down again. Fulham fans will be looking at that with a bit of frustration, I think, but I think there's also that acceptance. We've seen how well Tomori's done over there, Chris Smalling as well. There's sort of becoming a bit of a habit, isn't there, of these lads moving over to Italy from the Premier League, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him move to Serie A in the summer.
Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.